Hello, everyone. Well, welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Awakening 2. And today's going to be a really cool episode because, of course, we're going to be speaking about mental health. But today's topic is a woman of many hats. And it's a really cool topic because it just sounds really awesome. So today, me and Angela are joined with Terry, and it's going to be really cool to get to know Terry in today's episode. And yeah, I'm going to get Angela to introduce herself, and then Terry can do an introduction after Angela. So over to you, Angela.
Hello, I'm Angela T. Jackson, CEO and founder of the Jackson Impact Mental Health Solutions. I'm a licensed therapist in the state of Tennessee, UK, and I'm excited about the guest that we have today. It is a longtime friend, and I am ready to hear her introduction. Don't hold back.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Terri Davis McCall. I am in Nashville, Tennessee, USA, and I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you about being a woman of many hats. I am a educator. I work in higher education, and I love writing, and I've written some journals, and I have a few more on the way. I'm an advocate of love, marriage, and I also am a auntie of 8, and I really enjoy life as it is at this moment. I'm a divorcee, but I'm always looking for somebody special. Not really, but I'm just kidding. No, but I'm definitely open to whatever God wants to bring into my life. So thank you for having me today, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
We are so glad that you are here. You fit the description of a woman wearing many hats, a life coach, heavily involved in ministry, author, professor, and the list goes on. CEO, founder, motivator, mentor. I was ready for that introduction for the wife circle.
Yes. Yeah, the wife circle, that is my heart, that is my passion. And that's wife as in marriage, wife's circle. And the wife circle is an organization that supports women who are in ministry. You know, there are a lot of women ministries out there, but this one is a little bit different because we're always about shaping, coaching, transforming the whole woman. And we're not just looking at women who are in ministry, but we're focusing in on those women who have been married, separated, or divorced. Why? Well, because that was my status. I was once married, I was separated, and now I'm divorced. And so going through all those stages in life can really bring about some change and transition in your life and your mental health and your heart. And I want to be able to help others to navigate through that process.
I think that's really awesome because, like, of course, I won't have that experience, but but I think it's great that you're offering like a platform for people like to come to you to talk because I can imagine how hard it can be or getting married to divorce and stuff like that. So it like how long has that been going, Terry? How long have you been doing that for?
Well, I started this process in 2019, actually, and going through my ex-husband and I, we have been married legally for 10 years, and we separated. He left our marriage June 1st, 2016, 11 days after our 7th wedding anniversary. And that was an experience, to say the least. And from that experience, went through a lot of emotional transition. Um, I wanted to work out whatever our differences were. And at one point, he was talking about working it out, but then he totally flipped the script. He was involved with someone else, And he's moved on with his life with that particular person, and I've moved on with my life. But in that transitional process, I had to learn to cope with the things that I was dealing with emotionally. I went through counseling because I had to learn how to handle the emotions. I had to learn how to handle such a heavy breakup. A marriage dissolving is honestly like a death. When your life goes from two people now to just one, and now you have to go through the whole adjustment in the mourning process and dealing with the loss and the anger, the resentment, and the hatred, because that's for real. And having to really face my feelings, face my emotions, and be honest with myself about how I felt about him, about the marriage, about all of the people that were involved. Whether directly or indirectly, I had to, like they say, put on my big girl panties and really deal with the matter and deal with my heart, because it was a heart issue. And it took some time, but I made it through that transition. And I'm glad to say that I'm on the other side of it. And on the other side of it is the wife circle. I was just praying and asking God to really help me through the transition. And one day God gave me this name, the Wife's Circle. And through my time of prayer and meditation, God has spoken to me and said, I want you to help other women who are going through this same process. Now, I didn't start immediately because I was still kind of working through some things. But when when you get to the other side of a challenge in your life, and when I know without a shadow of a doubt, when I knew rather without a shadow of a doubt that I was on the other side of that challenge, I was starting to blossom. The cloudiness left my life, the gloom, that anger, all of those things left my life. And I was able to really look back at the situation and have a different perspective. And that perspective was no longer anger. That perspective was no longer feelings of abandonment. That perspective was no longer feelings of, I just want to stab him. So, just being transparent.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie. There's an American movie called New Jack City, but there's a particular character in the movie called Nino Brown, and he has a famous line in the movie. He tells one of the persons in the movie to sit their $5 behind down before he makes change. And I was really wanting to make change.
I
went through that counseling, and the counseling helped me, and it kept me from making change.
Yeah, I like you. It's how you have to relate to the situation, I guess. And like they say, things happen for a reason, and sometimes you may not think that. You may think that these things can't happen for a reason, but sometimes they do. And I think with divorce and stuff like that, like you say, I think they affect not just the two people who love who all did it, who are lovers and stuff like that. I think it affects a lot of other people around that circle as well. Within that, to perhaps like they've known like this certain person for like a certain number of years, and then they get attached and they like them, and then as well, and the family, and then it all goes to pot. So it is really hard, and like you say, it's like a death in a family, which I can completely understand that and get that, because it is, and it's like you might be like having the gaming nights, or just had it like you're meeting with that certain person, and then it goes. So it is or it is like a loss, because you just go your separate ways, don't you? And then
Yeah.
you probably don't speak to them again, which can be sad in the moment, but I guess over time you get to think that um there's other people out there and stuff like that, where well, hopefully, there's loads of people in this world, so things happen when they happen, I guess.
Yeah, things do happen, but I will say, as an adult, you can control some of those things that happen. Some people say, it just happened. No, some things people walk into and they do out of their own merit, out of their own desire. But I believe that marriage is it is a unit where two people come together and they work through the good or the bad. The vow says for a better or worse. And we don't know, when you're standing at the altar making those vows, you don't know what better looks like and you don't know what worse looks like until you get to that moment. And your responsibility, your commitment that you made to one another says, we're going to work through this better. We're going to work together through this worse. And one person shouldn't do all the work, but both people have to do the work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Terri, in listening to you, you said so many things that pointed to the stages of grief. And I often tell clients the loss of a relationship is much like the loss of life. You can grieve a lifestyle, you can grieve a relationship, you can grieve all of those changes, and you go through those stages, whether it's like you said, making change, that anger, the frustration, the sadness, even sometimes denial, where it doesn't feel real. It happened, but is there still a possibility? Maybe questioning, maybe bargaining. Is it something I did? Was it something I said? Was it something I didn't do? And now for you to be on the other side of that says that the one of the stages that comes into play is that acceptance. At what point did that acceptance come into play and you started to build, and even not just for yourself, but now you're building for other women to come, everyone else in the wife's circle who has either experienced it, whether, as you said, divorced, separated, widowed, even women who are seeking to become married can learn from what you're offering. So tell us what has been on the other side.
Oh my goodness. Listen, on the other side, I have experienced a lot of emotion. It's been some happiness more than anything. I've had some shock, like, oh my God. I've experienced a lot, but the things that I have encountered, or I should say the women that I've encountered, many have shared their story with me. And I've discovered, being a Christian, that there are a lot of women who have experienced the same thing that I have, and a lot of them went through it silently. And some of them, their coping mechanisms were not very healthy, such as, they started, secretively drinking alcohol, a lot at a large consumption, secretly, self-medicating with painkillers and things like that. But I refer them out to places that they can get help with that, because I'm not certified to do that. But the other side of this is also the joy of people reaching out, individuals that reach out and say, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for your help, because I now have a different perspective. People have reached back to me and said, thank you for your transparency. I can handle this situation a little bit better. I felt like my life was falling apart. But what I try to do is give ladies tools on how to move forward, because you can't twist someone's arm and make them love you and make them be with you. I knew probably within 3.5 weeks of being married that the person I was married to did not authentically love me. So, but I was all that, for better or for worse. Let's better it out. But, I'm a realist about this thing now. When you see the signs in the person, especially for those who are single, who've never been married, or those who have been married and they're wanting to get remarried, let's start looking at the signs of what you see in the behavior of the other person. Those signs really matter, those red flags. And everyone talks about the red flags, But
Yes.
let's talk about some of the yellow flags, red, green, yellow. Those are the caution things. The red is, hey, stop, don't go any further. Yellow, let's
Right.
caution thing, because some of those things can be fixed. Some of those, but we are not to be fixers. We are just to, love through and encourage gently. But those green flags are also really good, and I love the green flags of those who receive the support that they are hoping for, that they're desiring, or they receive the love that they have been desiring. So those green flags, the celebrations, the weddings that happen, the marriages that are turned around, those that have been experiencing some challenges, now they're able to really have a different perspective. Those are the wins for me. And you know what? Honestly, sometimes a divorce can be a win, because even though no one gets married to divorce, but it can be a win on the back end. Why? Because if a person is in a abusive situation, whether it's physically, emotionally, financially abusive, that separation, though it may be traumatic, it can be a win for them, because it gives them an opportunity to go through a healing process and to start their life over with help, with counseling, with coaching. So there's so many wins, and I really love when I hear about the women whose lives have been transformed by the tools that I give them.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I can relate to what you were saying about women and even some men, I'll put that
Yes,
in there, that
absolutely.
that suffer in silence, that go through the divorce and the separation and these hard times alone. I can relate to going completely incognito
Yes,
when I
yes,
was going through my situation. And I tell you, what is so awesome about you and what you're doing is that you are standing up, you are advocating for those who no longer have to suffer in silence, who no longer, we think, oh, I don't have anyone else to turn to. I don't have anyone else who can relate. Well, not only are you a life coach, not only are you advocating from experience, but you can relate. You've got your own full story. And I love what you said. I hear red flags a lot. I even hear green flags a lot. I have not heard the yellow flags. I love that.
yeah,
Yield, caution. We
yes,
see those in the beginning and we ignore them. I always say, don't ignore the warning signs. I
yes.
like that.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
I'm the same. Like you hear the word red flags a lot, which they are important, but you need to identify the yellow flags to see what is the red flag. So that makes perfect sense. Um, and you mentioned the word acceptance, and I think that is important. I think the words acceptance, you don't hear it enough. Um, because it's important. Like you've got to get acceptance. It's important to even to be here, like for us to be here right now to be talking about mental health, because you have to try and accept it yourself, or realize what's happened, and find ways of how to cope with it, and just different ways. And I think we definitely see some examples of different yellow flags, I think, because they are. I think we need to hear we need to hear more about yellow flags instead of the red flags first.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give an
Mm-hmm.
example. And everyone has the red, green, and yellow flags. One of the things that, as you were talking, this came to my thought, was one of these yellow flags is, if this individual wants to connect with you, if, for those who are dating and they're, starting that life out, if all they do is text you, that's a yellow flag. And, in American football, yellow flag is a flag on the play. You know, that's a fine. I don't know. I'm not a big soccer follower, for football, but I believe they do use flags. But when there's a flag on the play, when there's a yellow flag, that's a caution. Why is that a caution? Because someone who does not take the time to audibly speak to you, to hear your voice, to know what you're saying and how you're saying it, because your pitch, your tone, all of those things make a difference in what you're saying and how you're saying. And if you have a person who is always just wanting to text, there's never any conversation. That's a yellow flag. That's a caution. That's a let's slow down. Let's yield, because there could be some hidden things that you're not realizing. And some people get wrapped up in, oh, this person texted me, good morning, beautiful. Well, I already know I'm beautiful. So thank you for the compliment. Pick up the phone and call me. Let's have a conversation, because I need to know what your thoughts are. I need to know if you're lying. All of those things matter. Another thing that I also thought about was, when it comes to acceptance, not just accepting the situation that is occurring in your life, but accepting who you are. And that was something that I had to learn, was accepting who Terri is, because going through the process of being a woman who is a minister and was married to a minister, sometimes women who are married to ministers get caught up in the identity of ministry. They get caught up in the ideal of preacher. And for me, that wasn't an issue. But, some people get caught up, they lose themselves, and you have to regroup who you are. Bring yourself back together. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king horses and all the king men, they couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Why? Because he was so shattered. Humpty Dumpty lost his identity, and he was shattered. And so some women have become that. They have become shattered because they have lost their identity, and no one, no friend, no engagement where they speak at, whether it's on a big stage or a small stage, can help them. They have to do the work to bring themselves back together, to go through the process of self-evaluation, self-love, learning that self-worth, and not looking at themselves as, oh, I'm blah, blah, blah's wife, but I am who I am, and love who you are, but not just loving who you are, but grow intentionally. One of my life quotes is, I grow where I'm planted. I tried to figure out, how does a daffodil grow out of concrete?
Mm.
There are no
Yes.
seeds planted. There's nothing but, this solid substance and water. When water is collected by, when it comes from the sky, and it gets in the cracks, it gets in the crevices. Well, the wind carries the seed of that plant, and it lands in that concrete. And so some of us have blossomed out of hard places. And when we blossom out of a hard place, we become a beautiful thing. Now, that does not mean that we have to maintain the hard exterior, because daffodils, I'm not daffodils, but dandelions, there are some people look at them as a weed, but they have so many good natural properties for the body, for the digestive system. So even
Yes.
though it comes out of a place that may not look so pleasurable, but the benefit that comes from it is fruitful. And so that's how I look at some of the women that I deal with. They may have come out of a hard place, a difficult place, a difficult situation, but it's the benefit of the growth that is fruitful and life-giving.
Yeah. That is amazing. That is amazing. Terri, I want to ask you, when women come to your organization broken, when they come to you shattered, is there already a certain plan? I don't want to say treatment plan, but of some sort. Is there already a certain plan of how you navigate them through the process or through your program?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things is I'll listen to their story. I listen intently. I take notes on what they're saying. But before I even take them on as a client, for coaching, I will pray about it, because I don't take every person God to say yes or no or wait, because God gives us, he will respond to us. But I pray about it, and I'll tell them, okay, I'll get back with you. And once I get an answer after I prayed about it, I'll go to them and I'll say, okay, well, I'm going to take you on. I give them their time of meeting. I set up a Zoom link. If we meet virtually, if we meet in person, we set a time, but most of my meetings are virtually. And then I begin from that point of putting a plan together. Sometimes I'll meet with a person and I'll do 6 sessions, maybe I'll do 10 sessions. But I am all about getting to the root of the matter, because, playing on the surface, that's real cute. But let's get to the root of why you're angry. Let's get to the root of why, and they don't have to be divorced. They can be married and just having some difficulty. But, let's get to the root of why you belittle your husband publicly and privately. What is that? What is that thing that is causing you to behave that way? And, so when I went through my process, one of the things that I had to go through was I had to go through an excavation. And, an excavation process, I love watching the History Channel and things about archaeology. An excavator is a large machine, and it comes in and it digs deep and it removes the dirt. It unearths things that are underneath the earth. And, once they get to a point where the excavator has been useful, then the tools are switched out from a large machine to something that may be a little smaller, like a brush, because whatever is underneath the surface that has been exposed has to be handled with care. And so some people have to go through an excavation process. And with that excavation process, sometimes I just give them, the medicine with no chaser. Sometimes I'll tell them, hey, what the problem is? You have a bad attitude and you need to get your life together. When I was a kid, my mom would say, okay, I'm going to give you this cough medicine and just drink some water afterwards because it's going to taste bad. And sometimes that bad taste, it's beneficial to the body, but going down, it's not good. And, I've had some clients that got mad at me, and then they didn't want to talk to me, and they didn't talk to me for, a couple of months. Hey, I'm okay. Send your payment though. But they came back and said, you know what, you were right. You were right. And so it's about digging and getting to the root of the problem and exposing that thing, and if I see that the problem is far greater than my spectrum of coaching, then I refer them out to Miss Angela Jackson, or to another person who I know who also does counseling, because I want to make sure that they're able to get additional help past what I offer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it is really good work that you do, and you're going back to the cards, like you talk about football. I think that actually, because there's a red card and there's a yellow card, but I think that's all. Like if someone says something bad or for a foul, but I think they should bring in green cards that rewards players or sports people for doing good things. If they, I don't know, if they do a good tackle or do something good in the match, they are rewarded with a green card that, I don't know, or they get some reward or something like that, because I think that it makes it more better experience. So say if they do get a yellow card in the game or something, that they feel better about themselves at the end if they do get a green card or something, that they've done better to take away that kind of yellow card experience. So I think that could be a thing. It probably won't happen, but it just seems like a good idea.
Mm-hmm. I like how you said that, Mason. When I think green, I Oh goodness, there's that growth, there's that fertility, there's the newness. And I remember when my kids were smaller, I would tell them an A is its own reward. I was trying to teach them and get them motivated to learn and have this love for education. And when I think about the commitment, right? That's its own reward. The trust that's there, that would be a green flag. We're making that correlation between the sport and then the green positive. So you got your trust that's already there. That's a green, right?
Yeah.
It's its own reward. You're rewarded with that. The kindness, the respect,
Yes.
the integrity that's involved, the protection. So there are a lot of things in there that I agree with you. They
Yeah.
are to be rewarded. Yeah.
Yes. Truly, truly rewarded. Truly rewarded. But
Yeah.
those red flags, you look out for the liar.
Oh yes.
If the story is one thing today and it becomes something totally different the next day, no.
Yeah.
No, because that honesty, if they start out lying to you, they're always gonna lie because they're gonna, my mom would always say, if you tell one lie, you're gonna have to tell multiple lies to support the first lie you told.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of
And don't
work.
forget, and don't forget,
And don't
you have to
forget.
remember.
Yeah. I think the thing when people lie, because I think everyone lies at some point in your life. You go lie about something. You might do a little fib, but I think when you lie, if you do a lie after a lie, that does affect your mental health because
It does. It does.
because you
Especially when you are
don't know.
lying to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because lying isn't so friendly. Like, like if it's something like you don't want to eat this food or something because you don't know, you don't want it, and like you make a fib, or it could be things that people can make believable. Because that's what a lie is like. Like you try and make it as believable as you can, and depending how good the liar is or how good you know this person, it's they are very good at it. Like it should be its own kind of, I don't know, sport.
Mhm.
Because like it's loads of people do it, but it's not good. But some situations, in some situations, you may have to lie because, like we talked about, acceptance. Not everyone accepts things,
Yes.
and there are certain situations where you might have to say a little fib to get something that maybe the support you need. But in like marriage situations, like Terry saying, definitely lying is not good, not good there. But in certain situations, it can be useful,
Yeah.
to get certain support. But yeah, like liars aren't good in a marriage setting or stuff like
They're
that.
not good in any setting,
No, no,
honestly.
not in any setting. Not in any setting.
It sounds like we need another episode, Mason.
Well, I will say that one of the, I don't want to say coping, but techniques that I provide my clients with when it comes to coaching is everybody receives a journal. And um, I'll normally ask them, well, do you have a journal? And if they say yes or no, then I'll tell them, okay, well, I'm going to give you this journal. And with that journal, I tell them to write their feelings down, document how they're feeling, because sometimes the weather affects our feelings. If it's raining and you're just like blah today, write it down, put the date on it. If the sun is shining, write that. If your day is going well and then there's something that happens that causes you to have a mood change, write about it. I lived through depression. I went through a series of depression from age 22 to 25. No, I would say probably age 21. And it was just, and I didn't get clinical help, but I knew I was depressed because my method or my daily life was I would go to work. I was a functioning depressant, I guess you could say. Go to work, and I'm at work all day, and then I would come home. I'm home by 5:30, maybe 6 o'clock, 6 o'clock if I had to stop somewhere, and put on my pajamas. And then I'm laying down. I go to sleep. I'm asleep all evening long. I would fall asleep on the sofa. I would get up, I would eat something, and then I would go and get back in the bed, and I would sleep all night. And then there were some nights where I just didn't have um, uh, appetite, or I just didn't sleep at all. I had thoughts of suicide. I was contemplating on how I was going to take my life, whether I was going to, take pills or whatever. But I knew one thing is whatever I was going to do, I did not want my mom to see my body damaged, because I did not want that to be the image of, for my mom to keep in her head about me. So I considered all these things, and I came through it, and I did go, and I got some minor counseling, but not a whole lot. But it was a battle. It was a struggle because it stemmed from some disappointments in life. It stemmed from sexual abuse that I experienced as a little girl, which my parents know about. But just a lot of disappointment and low self-esteem. I had just bad self-esteem. Even though people always told me that I was pretty, that I was smart, I was educated because I had gone to college, and but I just did not feel worthy. And so I I make sure that those that I come in contact with, who I take through the coaching process, is that they are journaling. And, we discuss what they're writing in their journal, because I want to make sure that, if they're showing symptoms of depression, then I can immediately refer them to a mental health counselor. Because I wouldn't want anyone to be under my care and then they do something to harm themselves, and then I'm held liable for that. But I want to make sure that I get them to a higher level of profession. But one thing that I can say, that journaling has been extremely therapeutic, especially going through my process of separation and divorce. And prayer. I prayed a lot, not because I was just like um looking for something, outside of me or bigger than me, but because my heart was broken. My soul, my spirit, not my soul, but my spirit was hurt, damaged, it was broken. And I knew that I needed a divine power. I needed God to help me navigate through. And then, prayer, along with the counseling that I received, really helped me to overcome the sadness and the anger and all those other feelings that I lived through.
I love hearing that you include that level of assessment in the care that you provide, because we can't readily see a person who is suicidal. We can't, there may be signs like we've discussed of a person who's experiencing depression, but when you are used to putting on that mask, and when you are used to waking up and making up so that you can present to the world like everything is okay, it's not immediately identified. So that's awesome that you go through that.
Mm-hmm.
It's necessary.
Yeah, it's
necessary.
Yeah, we have to remove the mask. Women wear
Yes.
masks every single day, because, and not just women, but people in general, they wear masks to hide the sadness. We women, we put on makeup to cover up the blemishes on our face, or to make us look more enticing and more beautiful. But behind all of the makeup and the lipstick and the eyelashes and the eyeshadow, there's a little girl who's just wanting someone to hear her and listen to her and to love her authentically. And I'm here to help them build that place, because authentic love is within. Whitney Houston sang the song years ago, "The greatest love of all is inside of you." If you don't love yourself, How do you expect for someone else to fall madly in love with you and sweep you off your feet and treat you like a royal person, you know?
That's right. It's an
So
inside job.
it's
That's
an
right.
inside
That's
job,
right.
absolutely.
So, Terry, you do so many amazing things. I know the viewers and listeners are taking in so many gems. And recently, you shared something with the community on social media. It was a 13-day health challenge, and there was so much packed into that. Tell us a little bit about that, and then also what you have going on next.
Awesome. So the 13-day health challenge came, of course, through my prayer and meditation time. And um, God brought a scripture to my heart about Jesus being in the temple, and he put out the people who were in there selling things. And God said to me, you know, tell my daughters that I want them to put the unhealthy things out of their life. That's that excavation. And so I started asking the Lord, okay, well, how do you want me to do this? He said, I want you to put out a 13-day health challenge. Why 13 days? Why not 21? You know, but a 13-day health challenge. And so I went full speed ahead with it. And in this 13-day challenge, every day focused on a different day. We had a day where we talked about movement, get up and exercise, you know, 30 to 45 minutes. You know, if you don't want to go outside, then put on your favorite song and just dance until you break a sweat and you get your heart rate up, and do it 3 to 4 times a week. Another day we had focused on mental health, you know, and things that help improve your mental health, or how you can ways to, you know, have a healthy mental health. We also talked about journaling. We also talked about just so many things. The journaling, the mental health, healthy hair. You know, it was all about the whole woman and how you can care for your body from head to foot. And I believe that I'll probably do it again, but I want to focus on some other areas as well, like your oral health. You know, some of us have, you know, a beautiful face, but our teeth are not the best. You know, your oral health is really important. The health of your mouth
Yes.
also connects to the health of your heart. We talked about heart health and hypertension. So, you know, I wanted to be able to tackle the health of the entire woman from head to toe, inside and out. And I had so many women that were reaching out saying, thank you for this challenge. It really helped me. Woo, this is really kicking my butt. You know, all kinds of, you know, fun and wonderful things. And I did a video every day to encourage them to keep going. And so what's next on my agenda is we normally do an annual celebration every summer, because the Wife Circle started off in July 2019, and we do a summer brunch or something of that sort. But this year we're not going to do a brunch, but we're going to have a retreat in October. And I do a retreat twice a year, but this year is going to be in October. We're going to have it here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I want to keep it a small environment, you know, 10 ladies, and where we can come together and we can do some exercises, some coaching exercises. And I definitely hope that Miss Angela is going to be there, because we want to make sure that we also do some exercises on really talking about the mental health challenge. Because surprisingly enough, although that there are, you know, these are women who are in ministry, um, they experience the same challenges that someone who is not in ministry. You know, you have the person who is, you know, they have the crowd and they have the excitement and they have the people that are around them that are serving them, but they go home and they're lonely.
Mhm.
They're sad. They don't have many friends, or they're always, you know, wondering who is against them. You know, they're a little paranoid in a sense. And so we want to do some deep diving into self-love, not just self-care, but self-love, and just rebuilding, excavating, and then rebuilding, planting new seeds in the gardens of their hearts. So yes, I'm looking forward to that fantastic fun time to come together for our retreat in October of 2023. So we're going to be just doing things throughout the year. And of course, all of my endeavors that I do, I post on all of our social media outlets, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, because I want to be able to reach as many people that I possibly can about the things that we're doing with the Wife Circle, because it's about affecting the whole woman, and making sure that they have a better life moving forward and not dying prematurely because they didn't take care of themselves.
Yeah, I think that's great. Like what you're doing, Terry. Like you got lots of things planned, even into October, like you're saying. So by that time, we'll be nearly in 2024.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Got lots of great things coming. I'm really excited about it. I hope to come to the UK and maybe we can do something fun there.
yeah, yeah. It's good. Like the UK is. I guess it's better for people who travel there. It's like anything. If you live there, you're not going to go to the places that people travel there with. Like it's better when you go there on holiday or travel for an event, because you spend more time and you can look around, see what there is. But it is great fun. There's always stuff to do. But
Yeah.
yeah.
If we come, you can be our guide.
Yes, we can have a good time, Mason. I don't have to see the royals. I'll just, as long as I can pass by the castle and, wave and keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, Terri, please tell the listeners and viewers how they can make contact with you from here, whether it's the social medias, the emails, the website, and also how we can get your journals.
Awesome. Sure, sure, sure. So the website is The Wife's Circle, TheWifesCircle, thewifecircle.com. And that can be reached at anywhere in the USA and outside the US. Our email address is The Wife Circle. You can email me at Terri, TerriJo at thewifecircle.com. And that'll come directly to me. And I look forward to hearing your responses, your requests. I'm available for speaking engagements anywhere in the U.S. and outside of the U.S. I'm also available on all social media platforms, except for Twitter. Twitter is just a bit much for me right now, but I do Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel and TikTok, and you can find us at The Wife Circle. For all of those social media platforms.
Yeah. That's great. So for anyone who wants to find Terri, perhaps have her on another podcast, or someone else, or just or if you just want to have a look and see what Terri's doing, go and find her and like all the information, and it'll be in the description as well.
Yeah.
Which
All of my journals that I have available are on Amazon, and they'll be shipped right to your front door.
yeah. It sounds really good. Like you always keep them busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Before we go, I always ask everyone, on any series I do, even before Angela came on the podcast, I always ask this, if there's any advice that you've probably given loads of advice, but even anything that you'd like just to say to finish, or anything. Would there be anything that you'd like to say, Terri, just to say at the end?
Sure. First things first is always love yourself. Regardless of whatever your marital status is, married, separated, divorced, make yourself a number one priority. Love yourself. It can be rainy and gloomy outside, but you can be the sunshine anywhere you go. That's number one. Number two, always pray, because prayer is so important to your connection with God, and so that you can, live your life, and number three, live your life full of purpose. Don't allow your dreams to go to waste. Whatever your heart's desire is, whatever you want to pursue in your life, go after it. It may seem big to others, or it may seem small to others, but whatever that desire is, pursue it, go after it. Teaching, being a doctor, being a lawyer, whatever that may be, or even if it's just helping someone that's down on their luck, homeless persons, giving out, blessing bags to those that are homeless. Do it, because not just because you want to be seen, but because it helps the world to be a better place, and we are to be a light shining in dark places. And if you are that light, if you are that sunshine, no one can dim your light. So be the light in the dark place.
I love that advice, Terry, because we have to, like you say, we have to love ourselves, or anyone else can love us. So I love everything that you said. Angela, do you have anything to add, or do you have any last words that you want to say?
I want to just say I'm glad. I'm excited. I'm glad. I'm just elated to have our guest that we've had today. And I always like to remind the U.S. as well as the UK that we have emergency numbers in the event that someone is feeling hopeless, helpless, and no one to turn to. Remember, for the U.S. is the 988 crisis helpline, 988. There is also a text line that you can use. The number for the UK, for the emergency number, is 112 or 999. Do not suffer in silence. If you're feeling hopeless, helpless, alone, your life is valuable. You are needed here. Use these crisis lines.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm loving, like, nearly every episode now we share those helplines, which I'm not sure we did it in the first series that we did or not. We might have. I can't remember. A year ago.
I don't think we did as much. It might have been certain episodes that focused on suicidal ideation or things of that nature. But this year, they changed it from the toll-free 1-800 number to the 988. So
Okay.
Nope.
I definitely try to highlight
remember that toll-free number if they're in a crisis, but the 988 is so much easier.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like here, 999 is easy to remember. It's probably one of the most known numbers out there to remember, other than your own. Because we all should you would have thought we all know our number off by heart if you've had it a fair while. But yeah, well, to anyone listening and watching today, we hope you've took something out today's episode. If you've related or are struggling, that there are numbers out there, which Angela has said, but you can also find them online, and there's also sites that you can go to see if you want any support. But if you are out there need support as well, Terri can offer you those services as well for the stuff she does. There's so many people that you can see and talk to, and yeah, well, we hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as us. But thank you to Terri and Angela for a great episode and talk today, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day.
Thank you.